Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. A full list of materials is in the description below. Today we are going to work on another painting for a children's room. A toddler asked me to paint him a green Diggy, so let's paint it together. Let's work on the line drawing first. In order to paint an excavator, I first look at some pictures of real construction machines. I will use the front from one picture and use the other picture to draw the back. The painting is a simplified version of an excavator, but you still need to understand the basics on how the vehicle is constructed and the scale of pieces. Adding some details in just the right spots will make all the difference. I start out by marking out the center of the paper and mark the middle on the top and bottom side of the page as well. This will make it easier to position the Diggy on the page. Using some tools like a ruler to draw straight lines will make it easier to create a line drawing. I have the photos pulled up on my tablet as a reference, and I paint a simplified version of what I see. I start with the larger, structurally important pieces like the cab, the bucket and outline of the tracks. Once those are in place, I start working on the medium-sized items and then finish up with the details. Once you're happy with your line drawings, you can then remove all unnecessary markings with an eraser and lighten your pencil lines. I will not lighten them for the purpose of this video to ensure that you can still see them. In order to give the painting a certain comic-like look, I avoid hard 90-degree corners. I just round them up. It also makes it easier to paint them. For a toddler's room, I want the colors to shine. You can create this effect by using two contrasting colors and by mixing colors. I will limit my color palette to 3 colors. This also makes it easier for you to recreate it, and it creates a simple look. The gray that I'm using for the glass will have some green mixed into it to offset it from the normal gray tones I'm using in this painting. Traditionally, you would mix in blues for the glass, but I want to create a cohesive painting, and using blue would mean that I introduce another color. In order to get the colors just right, I test it on a sheet of paper while mixing. I pre-mix the watercolor to make sure I can use a consistent mix throughout the painting, and pre-mixing is a great idea because it allows you to work faster. The green will have a neon effect, simply because I added lemon yellow to it. I chose emerald green as it has less blue pigments. This makes it easier to get the color right. Let's start painting. I like to do the windows first, then all the blacks and grays, and then the greens. It is easier when you can concentrate on one color at a time. I pre-wet the windows as this will give me a larger amount of time to actually paint them in. The water does not reach all the way to the pencil line. I will close that little gap with the watercolor. The watercolor will bleed into the pre-wetted area, and I might have to help the pigment to move with my brush. Leaving the little gap gives me the advantage that it's easier to create straight lines. I will also drop some water into the central area of the windows because the water will help me to push the pigment aside to the sides of the window, and it will just leave a very interesting pattern on the window. Next, I paint in the bucket using the same method. First, I pre-wetten the bucket with clear water, and then I fill my brush with the gray pigment. The gray pigment will bleed towards the central area of the bucket, and I can help the pigment move with my brush. I'm using two brushes here, one for the clean water and one for the pigment. It's easier if you don't have to wash out your brush all the time. Also, feel free to turn your page whatever direction is most comfortable for you. The grey I'm using, it is the color Lamp Black. It's just diluted with different amounts of water. I will be painting whatever areas I can get to without risking to put my hand into some of the wet paint. If you do, soak it up with a paper towel immediately, and please resist the urge to fix it immediately. Just let it dry completely and fix it after that. Trying to fix it now will only mess it up even further and make it harder to fix. Once it's completely dry, you can soften up the pigment with a damp brush and then soak it up with a paper towel. Fixing it immediately would cause some blooms and mess up the other paint even more. As I paint in segment by segment, I'm making sure not to paint in two pieces that touch each other, while one of them is still wet. This would cause blooms and give me some unpredictable patterns. The drying time is pretty short. I would give each piece like 5 to 10 minutes for it to be dry enough that you can paint around it carefully. Once everything is fully dry, I'm using a damp brush to soften up some of the pigment. I can then soak it up with a paper towel. This really helps me to clean up some of my edges, and it will make a large difference in the final painting. Painting in larger areas like the cap can be intimidating. In order to prevent hard edges, I pre-wetten the entire cap. The wet area should always be significantly larger than the area that you are currently working on. You can even let the water sink in for a minute or two and then pre-wetten the whole area again. I'm working my way around the whole cap and around every single pencil line with a light grey wash. When I see any hard edges forming, I'm using a wet brush immediately to soften them up. Using this method, I'm working my way around the whole painting. I will be adding a second layer of paint to some of the pieces later, just to darken them. I'm not changing paint colors, I'm just using a less diluted version of the paint I'm currently working with. 2 layers of paint will darken it noticeably. I left the whole painting process in the video just to make it easier for you to follow it and recreate it. If you do not want to see me paint in all the other pieces, feel free to skip forward to the timestamp when I start using the green paint. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below.